Another important aspect is in a grade 6, grade 7 person coming to us at a very younger age and asking for the crown hair transplant. See, crown is an area which is beyond the transition point. So if you see, can you just come near? If you see this portion is the transition zone or the transition point. This is the front hairline, mid scalp and the crown area. So we are encroaching a bit into the crown also here, but he is 27 years old. We are not planning to cover this in this sitting. Why? Because if you see, there are zones where this is still thinning. So this hair loss in this area is unstable. These areas are going to increase in terms of hair loss later on also. Crown should be attempted. There are criterias for crown hair transplant. Although there is no fixed age for crown transplant, but generally it is done after 30s. Then hair loss should be stable here. There should not be an ongoing hair loss, because if we transplant this area, say we have transplanted this area and this area has become thin, completely thin, it's going to look very, very awkward with a small island here and this whole area being totally thin or totally bald. This is known as donut effect or halo effect, which is very undesirable in crown. Second criteria is to have a very, very good donor site in terms of very thick hairs, which we can find out during trichoscopy. Then isolated crowns can be done even at an earlier age if a person is having only isolated crown. Crown are basically, they are the black holes. They need a lot of grafts and the results are less, because when the hairs emerge out, there is a high degree of separation. So once they come out, there is a high degree of separation between the emerging angles. So apparent density in the crown is always lesser than in the front. So this thing has to be told to a person if you are attempting a crown hair transplant or if a person is going for a hair transplant. So if we do it, ask them not to expect similar kind of density as in the front, because of the very high degree of separation when the hairs come out. Then another is, a person should be committed to medical treatment if he is going for a crown transplant, so that this hair loss progression can be delayed to whatever maximum age it can be delayed, and they should go for ancillary therapies also, like PRP and low level laser therapy and microneedling, whatever. So all these things should be told in detail to the patient who is planning for a crown. He should be explained that we have a limited amount of donor stock or the donors safe donor area from where we can harvest the grafts. It's not an unlimited, unreplenishable source. It's a limited source which cannot come back again. So it's not something we can keep on taking hair grafts every time. So priority is given to the front and the mid scalp. Less of a priority is given to the crown. Crown should be done only if it is stable, good donor site, committed to hair medical treatment post procedure. These are the few indications for the crown, and these things should be kept in mind at all the times, because many people won't come and say that do my complete thing in a single sitting. I cannot come for the second sitting. Sorry, that's not how the science works. It has its own ways, limitations. Even if we are planning this much of a hair transplant in Mr. Ravi's case, this is going to be a 2-day undertaking. A huge number of grafts are going to be used. And I hope this benefits everybody who is seeking transplant for the crown area. Thank you.